Hi, my name's Emma and I'm here today for another Art in Action BIMA from home. Today I'm going to show you how to attach clay. So whether you're working with air-dry clay or with natural clay, you're going to want to make sure that the things that you're attaching together really hold together, whether they're drying in the air or being fired in a kiln. So today I'll show you how to do a technique called slipping and scoring. We'll show you how to make your own slip and then make the attachments. So follow along and we'll look forward to seeing your next clay project.
Alright, so to start out, I have a plastic container filled with little bits of clay that I ripped up. And I'm just mixing some water into it, a tiny splash of water to start. So I'm using a plastic fork to mix and just mixing as best as I can, kind of combining the clay with the water. And so if you have dried out clay or even powdered clay, anything that is drier and crumblier, that will work better for making this slurry. But I just had little bits of clay that I had lying around that I ripped up and I started making into a slurry here. So I'm mixing it as well as I can, and you can keep adding water if you need to. As you can see from my mixture, it's really watery, and so I'm just trying to break up the big clumps of clay and combine them with the water. And ideally this will be the texture of like a thick yogurt. So now it's time to make some scores. So I'm just using a toothpick and drawing some crosshatch lines the same way you would if you were shading while you're drawing, roughing up the texture of the surface, and then taking a little bit of that thick slurry, the thick part of what's in my container here, and spreading it on just like it's glue. And you can go back in and remake your hash marks if you want. That might help a little bit with the attachment. But so here's the piece I'm attaching. I'll score that too, adding hatch marks on there with my toothpick. And this will kind of act like Velcro, sticking to the roughness and the slurry that's on the other piece of clay. You want to make sure that the hatch marks and the glue kind of line up with the piece that you're attaching. And then I'll just gently use my fingers to smooth down the edges. And this technique will make a much more secure attachment. It'll make sure that if you're firing your piece that it won't separate in the kiln. And for air dry pieces, it just makes it as strong as possible so your sculpture can stay together. And there you go. We'll see you next time on BIMA's Art in Action from home.